My name is Jill, and I'm here to talk to you today about my weight loss surgery journey that I had. I went to Tijuana, Mexico in March of 2021, so I'm just about coming up on 8 weeks post-surgery. So today I'd like to talk about what did I pack and what did I actually use and what did they provide. I think that was something that I struggled a lot and I Googled a lot and I just felt like I didn't want to be unprepared when I got there. And so I really probably overpacked many things, and I know it's going to be different for each place that you go to for your surgery, but in my case I went to Go Light Bariatrics with Dr. Zavalza, and I had an excellent experience, and this is my story of what I packed. First of all, I went through their list that they gave me, which was a very good list. And then I went to Facebook groups and I got ideas off of people that actually went to Mexico to have their surgeries. And some of the stuff I found to be very good information, and then other stuff was just provided for me, and I didn't even take it out of my suitcase at any point. So the most important thing, I guess, would be some PJs, some very comfy PJs, some comfy t-shirts, several comfy t-shirts, and some very light-fitting pants of some sort, something elastic like a light-fitting yoga pant, maybe a stretch pant, sweat pant, something like that, something that you're really comfortable in. My incisions were above my belly button, so it's not like the waistline of my pants were on my incisions, but the whole area was just kind of tender with all the gas and things like that. So I just took some really loose-fitting clothes, really comfy stuff. I also brought some slippers that had little grippers on the bottom. They recommend to either bring slippers or some gripper socks. And because you're going to be doing a lot of walking after the surgery in order to get some of that surgical gas that they kind of inflate you like a balloon, you have to get that out of your tummy. And it kind of goes up to your shoulders. And the only way to get it out is by moving, right? So you're going to be moving your arms, moving your shoulders, moving your tummy, just moving your body, right? You're going to be walking up and down the hallways. So the next thing would be chapstick, because you're going to have a bit of a dry mouth because there's restrictions on when you can drink and things like that before the surgery. And so when you come out of surgery, you're going to be a bit of dry. So perhaps some chapstick, some biotin dry mouth spray. I packed Gas X. I packed an extension cord and chargers for my phone and iPad and anything else that I wanted to use while I was there. I also packed my own heating pad that I brought from home. Also, I packed bandages and tape and waterproof bandages and gauze pads and alcohol swabs and Neosporin, and there's like this Neo to go that you can use. That's a spray that's little that you can get through TSA. What else did I pack? I packed some powder broth so that I would have something that I could eat or drink on my own. That I could just make simply by warming up some water. Another thing that was really important to bring was some cash. Actual cash in small bills, ones, fives, tens, usually just ones and fives, because you're going to be using it a lot for tipping. You're going to be tipping your driver that drives you from the airport down to your hotel. You'll be tipping your driver that takes you from the hotel to the hospital and back. You'll be tipping the bellboy at the hotel that's going to take your luggage up to the room. You'll be tipping the bellboy that brings your luggage down from the room after your surgery when you're getting ready to go home. You'll be tipping anybody that you happen to use along the route. If you use a cab or an Uber to go somewhere along your trip, say to go to Walmart or to go to one of the markets or something like that. And then also if you'd like some souvenirs, you're going to need to bring some cash, because now Walmart and things like that, I'm sure you can use your debit cards, but it's just a lot easier if you have cash. And the smaller bills, the better, because they'll give you your change back in pesos. And so if you wanted to come home without having to exchange that back into dollars, if you had some left over, then go ahead and just bring those small bills. And that's the best thing. Now, some people recommended to tip the hospital staff, and I know that some people did. So that is certainly an option to do that, to tip the coordinators. That is something that you could do. Tip the coordinators, tip the nurses. It's a little bit different down there. I know that sounds kind of foreign here for the U.S. to tip any medical staff, but it is more of a common practice there. So, what did I actually use? Well, I didn't use any of those bandages. I didn't use any of the alcohol swabs or gauze pads or any of that kind of stuff. I did use my heating pad, although I learned later that they had some you could borrow. I preferred just taking my own. That way I had it at the hotel and at the hospital, because the ones you could use were only at the hospital. I really liked the heating pad. It really helped with the gas and things like that. What else did I use? I tried the biotin spray because I did have dry mouth after surgery, but it made me want to throw up instantly. So I have not used it since. I did use the chapstick. I did use, of course, my extension cords and my chargers and things like that. My slippers were perfect. Now, when I went there, you get your handed slippers, the little slip-on kind that just have the little cover that goes over the bridge of your foot. But I just preferred to have my cozy little, I think they're like bears or something like that, slippers on. And my PJs, I wore my PJs. I didn't wear the hospital gown at all because you do so much walking, you do not want your back exposed. So I just simply put on some pajamas that I had that were a little bit big for me and very loose fitting everywhere. And still gave plenty of access to the nurses or anybody who needed to check my sutures or anything like that. Now, the reason why I didn't use any of the bandages is because I wasn't required to change them. The rule was to keep my bandages on until 5 days. 5 to 7 days, I think, was the rule. So just keep watching them, make sure that nothing's, oozing or lifting or that anything's getting behind the bandage. I was to spray the bandages every day with multiple times a day with like this alcohol spray, and just to make sure that the area stayed very sterile. And pretty much I didn't have to deal with the bandages besides just spraying them and checking them until I got home. And then about on the 5th, 6th, 7th day, the corners started to lift. And as the corners started to lift, I started removing them. And so after that, I didn't need any more bandages. I was not required to put any other coverings on my incisions. So the bandages were really not needed. However, every surgeon is going to be different. This is my experience with my surgeon at my clinic, at my doctor's for my surgery. I had a gastric sleeve surgery. So that gave me 4 incisions for that, plus an additional incision to correct a hiatal hernia that I had. I also had my gallbladder out, but that was just all the same incisions, I do believe. So just keep it simple. Keep your bags light, because on the way there, it's not so much of an issue, but on the way home, it's going to be a bit of a struggle because you're going to have to be lifting things, and you're not going to want to lift anything 10 to 15 pounds or more. And if you don't have a companion there, you're going to be responsible for carrying that luggage from your transport driver back to the airport into the airport. And if you don't have the option of checking your bags, you're going to have to lift these bags above your head if they're too large to store beneath your feet. So my recommendation is to try really hard to pack as little as possible. If you could possibly check your bags, that would be ideal. Something with a roller on it so you can pull it and not lift it and just hand it directly to the people at the airport when you're on your way home. Or if you can pack it all into a small enough bag that you can store it underneath your feet and not have to lift over your head, because that's something that you're not going to be wanting to do after the surgery, and it's not recommended. So, at least in my case, it was not. I flew Southwest, and it doesn't cost to check your bags. That's exactly what I did, as I checked my bags and I didn't have to worry about it at all. However, one small caveat to that was when I checked my bag on the way home, I checked my broth in it and I did not take it out. So when I had a 4-hour layover at the next airport, I didn't have any broth to add to my hot water, and there was no broth to be found in the airport. So little things, a little bit of preparation goes a long ways. So I hope this helps you to be able to pack your stuff that you're going to need for this surgery. I wish you all the luck in the world. I hope this is the right choice for you. And I couldn't be happier. I'm down 33 pounds now since my surgery, going on 8 weeks. A couple little bonus tips and tricks that I would recommend before you even leave or begin packing for that trip. is the day before or the day of, if there's time, to make sure that you write down all of your measurements, that you measure all of your body, your neck, your arms, your waist, your bust, your hips, your thighs, your calves. Measure anything and everything so that as you go along this process that you have something to measure back against. Because sometimes you're not going to be losing weight, but you will be losing inches. And so those measurements really help you to stay motivated, to stay on track, and to really see a very measurable path of your weight loss. So make sure to get also pictures, because the one thing that you really want to have when you look back and compare, again, in those times where you may be stalled or you may be struggling, you're going to want to be able to take a picture of yourself now, take a picture of yourself then, and really see that difference and keep yourself motivated. And then when you get to that goal weight, it's going to be amazing to really see how far you've come. So take some pictures of yourself, whether with or without clothes, or with minimal clothes, or whatever it is, some shorts and a tank top. Go ahead and take those pictures, get those measurements, and get your weight before you leave for your surgery. All right, thanks guys.